creatures might matter.
Hello everyone, welcome to Alien Movement. This is your host Andrew Meadows. Very happy to be with you tonight. I may have had a little technical glitch there with the sound effects. I wasn't sure if it played, so I played it again. A couple of things I wanted to cover before we get into our topic tonight. So when I did this is episode number 4. When I did episode number 1, I recorded it. When I did episode number 2, I did it live. And when I tried to listen to it the next day on my Spreaker app on my phone, it cut off at exactly 15 minutes. So I researched it, and it says that on Spreaker, if you have the basic membership, you can only record, or you can only broadcast live for 15 minutes. So in episode 3, I warned everyone I'm broadcasting live, but it's going to cut off at 15, but you can go to the download, and it was actually 36 minutes. So when I went to listen to episode 3, I was able to listen to the entire episode. So I'm not exactly sure if it's live for 15 minutes or if it's live for the whole thing. But if it does end at 15, just remember you can still listen to the whole thing on any of the other avenues I'm about to explain. So I apologize. I'm just not sure, because the first time it cut off at 15, but the second time it didn't. Or at least the people that were listening live told me that it didn't. So anyway, this is Alien Movement. Welcome to the movement. A couple of things. My website is alienmovement.org. I'm on Twitter at alienmovement1, the number 1. I'm on Facebook at alienmovement.org. So when you type in the name on Facebook, you have to type alienmovement.org. There is another Alien Movement on Facebook that it doesn't look like it's maintained, but somebody must have captured the name, so it's alienmovement.org on Facebook. And then, of course, I'm on Spreaker, which you're probably listening to right now. The name is Alien Movement on Spreaker. And also Alien Movement is the name on Patreon, Patreon. I have a couple of people sponsoring me, and I'm wanting to get more so that I can invest a little bit of money in some better equipment. But the purpose of this is not to make money. The purpose of this is to spread the word and get as many people following as possible. The more people that like and share, and then they like and share, and so on and so on, and we can really get a big following and start making some things happen. I also have a YouTube channel. It's Alien Movement, but when I type in Alien Movement, sometimes there are a lot of things called Alien Movement. If you search by channel, you should be able to find me. But at the very least, you can search by the episode name. So, like, for example, tonight's episode is called the Phoenix Lights. So if you type on YouTube Alien Movement dash the Phoenix Lights, it will definitely come right up once I post it. So that's that. Please like me on Facebook and Twitter. Please share. And tell your friends, anybody who wants to sponsor me. I have one person sponsoring me for $1 a month. I cannot believe how many followers I have on Facebook already. So, like, everybody's been following and apparently telling people, because a lot. There's so many people interested in these topics. So I'm really excited about that. And a bunch of followers on Twitter too, but Facebook is just going nuts. Anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about the Phoenix Lights. You probably have heard the story. You've probably seen pictures and videos. It was an amazing occurrence. So I'm going to give you some of the details really quick. The Phoenix Lights, also known as Lights Over Phoenix. This was a UFO sighting in Phoenix, Arizona on March 13th, 1997. So 20 years ago, almost exactly 20 years ago. And it was this massive alien ship in the shape of a triangle that flew slowly over Phoenix and was seen by thousands of people, not just seen, but reported by thousands of people over a space of about 300 miles. And the incident lasted for like 3 hours. So, you know how it goes with the government. Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was a weather balloon. It was swamp gas. Well, in this case, the Air Force said that they had these A-10 Warthog airplanes that were dropping these flares and in an exercise near the Barry Goldwater Range, and that's what the lights were. Well, flares, if I understand correctly, flares you drop from the sky and they fall to the earth and they burn out probably. They don't hover and move slowly over the city of Phoenix for 300 miles and for 3 hours. A flare would drop straight down, possibly get caught in the wind and blow for a mile or two, but not for 300 miles in a perfect triangle formation. You can go anywhere online, look up Phoenix lights, see videos of it. It's a perfect triangle. The lights are perfectly spread apart, traveling slowly over Phoenix for hours, witnessed by thousands. It was not dropping flares. That is absolutely impossible. It's not true. Anyway, they say that the ship was the size of several football fields, and it wasn't making any noise. It was flying pretty low and slowly over the city of Phoenix. This was some kind of an alien aircraft, and the military story does not hold water. It's not true. As a matter of fact, if I worked for the Air Force and I was a spokesman, and they told me, hey, go out to the press conference and tell them that it was flares, I'd be like, listen, I'll follow orders, but you got to give me a better story than that. I'm not going to go out there and make an idiot of myself. Anyway, so there were police officers that witnessed this, and hundreds or thousands of calls. I don't know if they called 911. Probably some people did, but it says they were thousands of people reporting the incident. So I don't know if that means calling the local news, calling newspapers, calling the police, calling the government, whatever it was. It was. There were so many witnesses and video. You know, people always say, well, where's the video evidence? Here's your video evidence. It's not just one video. It's tons of videos. There's your video evidence. So this is one of the sightings or one of the UFO incidents that I'm very passionate about. And I thought this was a perfect opportunity for our movement to gain some traction. And I will never forgive the Arizona governor when he had his press conference. You probably know what I'm talking about. He held a press conference about the lights, and he said he had important news. And he came out in front of all these reporters, and then he brought in this guy dressed up like a gray alien, and then he laughed, and everybody laughed. And I was like, that was a great opportunity for somebody to do the right thing and come out and give some real information and give our movement a kick in the pants that we've wanted and needed for so long. And instead, he totally mocked it. And again, I talked about this before, about mocking people's beliefs. Can you imagine if somebody said something like, oh, the statue of the Virgin Mary is crying tears of blood, and there were thousands of people coming out and worshiping and going crazy, and the Arizona governor called a press conference and had some guy come out dressed up like Jesus in a robe and sandals and a beard, and then everybody just starts laughing at him. That would never happen. It's just that we're open season for people to make fun of us and mock us and laugh at us, but nobody else is. No one else is allowed to do that. No one's allowed to be treated that way. And all we want is the truth. Anyway, I'm sorry. So the Arizona governor has this press conference, who, by the way, was under investigation for fraud at the time of this sighting. Has this press conference, mocks it, everybody laughs, and it's kind of forgotten about. It wasn't forgotten about by us, but it was kind of forgotten about by the mainstream, and it just kind of went away. As far as this could have been a spearhead movement to really have some disclosure. Instead, it just kind of went back into the fringe of all the nutty UFO people like us, and nothing ever really came from it. So, about 10 years later, in 2007, this governor of Arizona was interviewed, and his name was Fife Symington. I almost didn't want to say his name because I'm still mad at him. I appreciate him coming out 10 years later and telling the truth, but it's kind of it was kind of too late because it didn't get anywhere near the amount of publicity that it would have 10 years earlier. By the way, my screen went black. In case you've been listening to the first 3 episodes, my screen always goes black in the middle, so it's almost like a tradition now. But anyway, I got it back fixed. So he did come out 10 years later. Now, I'm reading an article published March 24th, 2007. So almost exactly 10 years later. And the former Arizona governor came out and said, let me see. So this is what the article says. It says, Symington said he did not acknowledge his own encounter at first because he did not want people to panic. The former governor, who faced fraud charges at the time, also said he did not need the additional problems such as an admission would have created. So he discussed the sighting of the UFO, and this is a quote from him in the interview. He said, "I'm a pilot, and I know just about every machine that flies." Symington, a former Air Force captain, told the Arizona Daily Star on Thursday, "It was bigger than anything that I've ever seen. It remains a great mystery. Other people saw it, responsible people. I don't know why people would ridicule it," which I think is funny because he's the biggest ridiculer of all. But again, it's 10 years later, and he's trying to do the right thing. He said it was enormous. It felt otherworldly. "In your gut, you could just tell it was otherworldly," was his exact quote. "In your gut, you could tell it was just otherworldly." Former Air Force captain, pilot, said this craft was not of this earth. He said initially he had told no one but his wife about this, that he had seen the lights. And you remember, I don't remember if it was the last episode or the one before where we talked about Jackie Gleason going with Richard Nixon to an Air Force base in Florida to see alien bodies and an alien ship, I believe. He went back and what did he do? He told his wife. And he talked about it for a long time. And then years later, the wife did an interview and talked about it. But anyway, so he told his wife, and let me see, moved across the sky, told reporters that an alien had been captured. Okay, now I don't know if this is true or not, but this is when he said an alien had been captured and he ushered out the guy dressed. I got excited there for a minute, sorry. And then he said, "This just goes to show that you guys are entirely too serious." Now, this is in 1997 when he was trying to take heat off himself while he was being investigated for fraud. 10 years later, he's changing his story and saying that it really did happen and all this other stuff. He ended up being convicted of bank fraud and some kind of bankrupt real estate empire. And he was pardoned by President Bill Clinton. Anyway, so that's one of my favorite stories, the Phoenix Lights. And one of his friends, a guy named Hyler, was one of Symington's closest friends, said that he does believe in UFOs, and he actually called Governor Symington a Trekkie, and he believed that